Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV podcast 584. Tuesday night, middle of winter, and none other than one of our favorite Smashies, John Turlap, I think, celebrating a birthday today.
It is, because he messaged me this morning and said, hey, wish your daughter a happy birthday, because they both share birthdays. My daughter, it's her 14th birthday today. She was very excited that they had the band at school play happy birthday for her.
Nice.
Yep. She gets a lot of special treatment because of her special needs. So I'm
good with that.
Yeah, I am too. Anytime you can make someone feel special, no matter who they are, it's great. So he reached out to me and said, wish her a happy birthday for me. So happy birthday to John Turlap and my daughter Violet.
Yes, absolutely. So here we are. It is the 2nd of December, as we were just talking about. Snowstorm came ripping through the Midwest, including
post-Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
right in the middle of your tournament.
Yeah, which we'll get to a little bit later. But somebody who is, he's used to it. He's been around the snow for some time. He's also been around the globe now, it feels like, a few times. We're seeing him everywhere doing work. Was recently in Africa, and he's got a lot of good stuff going on. And that's our guest, Joey Temali. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
How's it going, Terry and Johnny?
Well, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
With a last name like Temali, any tamales at Thanksgiving? Like, is it in any of your meals at all? Or is it not even kind of a thought? Do you traditional Thanksgiving, or do you try to add, like, as a haha wink, any sort of thing with a tamale in it for your family meals?
Yeah, so tamale is my dad's family, and he's the first generation American. So, and Thanksgiving is done on my side of the family. And we actually go to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Galena, Illinois, kind of northwest Illinois. My mom's side of the family has a big farmhouse there that they've been gathering there every Thanksgiving for over 50 years now. Thanksgiving, so not a lot of tamales, even if it was, it's Eastern European, so it does not even associate well with. I mean, like, at some point though, I do need to dive in and really start have a phase where I eat a lot of tamales. I haven't really indulged that yet. I admit, with our crushed pepper podcast, not just me but my two co-hosts, we receive a lot of spicy sauces and peppers and salsas. So I have my fair share of those things, which, including my logo, sometimes get confused with a tamale. They don't really have anything to do with a tamale, but
Sure.
they are kind of in that same family.
It's similar look, whatnot. I mean, I don't know the.
There's a candy called the hot tamale, and that's a little it's a fireball coming down with little glasses on it. Yeah. So not quite the pepper, but.
Yeah, those were never right. I associated those also with like Mike and Ike's, right? Like, didn't those kind of always go like hand in hand when they were like given out?
They were like a cinnamon Mike and Ike.
Yeah, or something.
I think kind of is what it.
So speaking of some delicacies, foods, you have been traveling a ton lately, including your most recent trip. So although I have really no official agenda, which isn't surprising to anyone, no agenda for our conversation here tonight, I just really wanted to catch up. But you were just in Africa, and I guess give us your account of what was going on over there and what was it like for you?
Yeah, I gotta say though, before I start with that, I was sitting in the green room, the virtual green room, as you will, thinking about. I got two Wisconsin guys having me on their podcast, and it just brought me back to Saturday afternoon, where my Golden Gophers took the axe for the 4th time in the last 5 years, and I wanted to lead it off with that because. We got to sneak a little bit of Minnesota-ness into this show, but Yeah, we went to Africa. We spent 2 weeks.
You don't even let me make the JJ McCarthy joke. Oh man. Okay.
Oh, dude.
We'll be okay. We'll let you have an axe. We'll take a bigger trophy at the end of the season. That's
I
okay. But yeah.
honestly, I think I would trade the axe for Jordan Love and Micah Parsons any day.
Yes, I think a lot of
Um,
people would. So I'm sorry.
so
Continue with your Africa
no,
talk.
no, it's fair. It's honestly, that's very fair. That experiment has flopped, and it's
Not
not
yet.
fun to be a part of it.
Not yet.
But
Not
we'll
yet.
see.
Give
I
him
mean,
two or
he gets a couple more healthy starts, and we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see. I'm willing to give him that for sure. But so far, not looking awesome. But I don't know. We obviously, is in every aspect of our life, but obviously sports. We are getting a shorter leash on all of our stars across disc golf and everything. We want them to be good, and we want them to be good fast, and we get impatient. So yeah, we had a great trip to Africa. A big group. It was bigger than the average Macbeth Foundation group, but that's because the beginning of the trip was not your average Macbeth Foundation trip. It was the first annual, I guess not annual, but it was the inaugural African Disc Golf Summit. We might have some sort of a gathering every year, but um, yeah, it was in Kampala, Uganda, which is in kind of northeast Africa. So kind of the heart of Africa, near Kenya and Tanzania. Um, and we had members from 13 or 12 or 13 nations that have some uh, semblance of disc golf. And that might be a permanent course, that might be some players with pop up baskets, that might be even like one basket and some players, or maybe there's some communities. There was a guy from South Sudan, and he got like his first 5 discs at the summit. But uh, they all kind of connect sometimes through Ultimate. It depends, but some of them obviously are Paul Macbeth Foundation projects. So we have kind of like your staples of the big African disc golf scene. You have Zambia, which is the first like two Paul Macbeth Foundation projects in 2015 when it was Eagles Wings. Um, and then we've done two more there. So they have a full uh, contingency of players. Then Uganda, which has become really the heartbeat of African disc golf growth. And then I think South Africa is certainly like uh, has a lot of courses and a lot of players. And then Ethiopia had the first sanctioned event in 2018. The Ethiopian Open. I know Brian Honegger, former international director, former executive director of the PDGA, he was there. And Brian went with us on the first trip to Uganda in 2022. And that's when we first brought disc golf, and it's just kind of taken off, mainly thanks to this one really amazing leader, Israel, at this amazing university that he's an alumnus of, and a lot of kind of other great young sports leaders from that same kind of path, that same tree. And it was their kind of mentor to all these people, who's now the dean of students. He was the initial connection to the Paul Macbeth Foundation. He was the guy who wrote the application. His name's Latimer, and they have just, I don't know. I don't know what they were all. I'm just sort of surprised they weren't all like really. They were all involved in stuff, but boy, they just dropped what they were doing and went full in on this. I mean, they have run multiple tournaments of 150 plus competitors. So it was. They have really exceeded our expectations. Israel specifically, he's uh, attempting to kind of get Uganda or get disc golf recognized in Uganda as a sport by teaching it. The requirement is that you teach it in a bunch of the districts. So there's like 150 districts that he has to teach him in, and in 2 years he's done almost 55 districts, and
Wow.
he's just taking portable baskets on vans, like hours drive, who knows where, to the far reaches of the country, and doing disc golf clinics and bringing along like two or three of these, uh, just kind of like his little team that he's got. And yeah, he has now a job with the Paul Macbeth Foundation, and he is the East Africa coordinator for the PDGA. And they've had kind of enough virtual meetings with the other African leaders and enough kind of run-ins at tournaments, and they were just like, we want a summit, we want to do this, we want to like meet up together. And yeah, Israel and Zach Smith is the executive director of the Paul Macbeth Foundation. He works at, obviously, Eagles Wings. He works at Feature Card Management. He is a powerhouse behind everything that the Macbeth Foundation accomplishes. So he works very closely with Israel, and yeah, they've been planning it for months, and they got Avery Jenkins to come. He's been on multiple Macbeth Foundation projects, I think like 5 or 6. And they got 2 representatives from UDisc, Anthony Wrench and Jen Kazanoff Diggs, to come down. And then they had Zoe Andyke and Dustin Keegan from Uplay, as well as MDG members. There were supposed to be 2 PDGA members. They both had crazy, unfortunate uh, travel issues the day they went to the airport. Mr. Phil Delone, his passport expired 5 months and 28 days
Mm.
from his. I know.
It's usually 3
Uh,
months, though, right? Isn't it
I
usually?
think it's six months for visas that you need.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, the East Africa visa was what he
Uh,
needed, and gosh, just I can't imagine. But I got. I mean, mine expires in October, so I was feeling great. I just mailed it in yesterday to get the
okay.
renewal. Now that I'm back, I'm not messing with that. But
Uh-huh.
we had a large contingency of people, and that was mainly because we were kind of uniting all of these leaders and people who have at least had like exposure. Like it's basically the only guy who had almost no exposure was this guy from South Sudan, but almost everybody else had either like watched a bunch, played ultimate, or played disc golf a lot. And so we were basically coming in to give like um sort of master classes and to help them basically have like a workshop of like how to. So Avery led these course design segments where he talked about how to safely build a course, and then we were at a institution in Kampala, and we went out and like did a live design session with the entire class. So everybody's out there with their notebooks, and he's just kind of going through all the basics. And Avery, I mean, you guys know Avery. He's an absolute I mean, as someone who directs media stuff, also as somebody who loves to travel, I cannot say enough good things about Avery Jenkins. He's just like an absolute unit, Hall of Famer now. Super cool. Well deserved. I was hoping his mother Sharon was going to be. She was supposed to be on the trip, but there's a lot of vaccine requirements and pills to take to go down there. So she was rightfully a little skeptical of that, and I was okay with that reasoning. That makes sense. But yeah, so Avery led the course design. Zoe and Dustin did their curriculum. Especially, it was more of like teaching the workshop people how to teach. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of just like kind of common mistakes and going through their book. And then yeah, you just gave really great presentations on um, sort of like why it's important to have stats, and how it's important to have and kind of stress to your community the importance of just like logging, even if they don't want to like score their round, just like logging that they played, because trying to like grow disc golf in these new communities, sometimes it really takes numbers from the existing course to prove to new areas that this is a good investment of your time. And So those are three really solid workshops across 2 days. We also played a 2 round sanctioned event, um, and we did some glow golf. It was great. It was a lot of networking. Everybody stayed at the same big hotel, so we even had like during the morning, during your evening meals, everybody was. I just everywhere I looked, I saw people from multiple countries, and I'm like remembering the faces and thinking like, oh my gosh, that guy's from South Africa, that dude's from Kenya, and that dude's from Ethiopia, and they're all just like animated at the table talking about some sort of, and one of them's holding a disc, and you can just tell they're going at it.
And did you say about how many there were? I'm sorry, did I miss that earlier? How many other than
Um, I
obviously
think
our
about
contingent?
12 or 13 nations, probably close to like 50 representatives,
Okay.
like total at the conference.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Uh, First of all, awesome. I get chills just hearing those stories because we've all been involved with some kind of project that is helping disc golf at some level or another. But to be at some of these Macbeth, specifically these Macbeth Foundation projects, where you're truly introducing disc golf to sometimes an entire country and people that do not typically have access to something like a number of discs or just that form of recreation and what it all is, I think is a little extra special. It's always fun to introduce new people, but I mean when you're introducing an entire country, sometimes it's a little, there's even more to it. When you're talking about tournaments and people playing and that ambition and that excitement, do these tournaments, are they successful because you feel like it's a camaraderie issue and they're bringing people together, or do you feel like there's a competitive issue of, hey, we don't have these other, we have other sports, but this is a new one and everyone's kind of fresh. Can you tell me where you think the appeal comes in? And I know it's maybe a big question, but what's the biggest appeal for these participants that are just getting introduced?
I think that's a good question. I think there's a kind of a common stereotype of like European and North American kind of mission trips to the developing parts of the world, right? With these kind of good intentions to bring this, whatever it might be. Sometimes it's religious institution, sometimes it's a sport. And yeah, I ask this question on a lot of my trips to the people I'm interviewing. Like, what is it about disc golf? Like, why is disc golf like so special and why does it hook? And there's a couple things. I think it's like non-contact, and it's like it's everyone individually versus the course. So it is competitive, but it's not like competitive against other people, and like your shots shouldn't really be affected by outside of like courtesy, right?
Mhm.
Like you should
Right.
be able to have a good game in spite of whoever's playing bad around you. And that concept is huge for them. I think a continent that for the majority was colonized, and then kind of in a lot of post-colonial situations in these countries, it's been a lot of really horrible leaders, a lot of political instability, and a lot of division. And from what I've heard talking with the leaders in a lot of these countries is they kind of see sports as like a unifier, and a lot of kind of like level like high level educational leaders and university people, they look very highly at a lot of sports.
Mm.
And I think the way that we started it in Uganda at a university that is specifically known for sports, they have a different way of kind of analyzing sports and the impact of sports. They know better than most people the impact that sports has beyond just like creating champions in those 1% of your participation
Mhm.
group. And I think when the people at that university really got to kind of look at disc golf and really kind of understand it once we put that course in, a lot of the people really understood like, wow, this is like really unique because we are competitive, and they are super competitive. Like even the kind of like developmental competitiveness, like when you saw all those countries get together, like you can tell the other countries are inspired but also like jealous of Uganda for how much Uganda has improved. They like can't believe the courses that are there. They're like, and it's like motivating for them to get back and go and build their own. So I think that's kind of like that mix where it is competitive and they have that ability to kind of scratch that itch, but it's not like this kind of combative
Hmm.
competitiveness. There's a
Yeah.
difference, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that you just really touched on too that I love to hear is something that I see at both the physical education conferences every year and the park and rec conferences every year. You go to those conferences because you're meeting with other people that are doing similar stuff, but the ideas that you're borrowing or stealing or implementing, copying and then implementing, like the fact that you can see, oh yeah, this has worked well in this country or in this spot or at this level of university or school, and then just having that knowledge to then bring back home and say, okay, just today, in fact, I spoke with someone who was talking about doing some pay-to-play stuff and in terms of developing courses, and it was interesting to kind of reflect as Wisconsin has some pay-to-play courses, and where we got excited about it, where we've fallen short, what the feedback was. And now everyone moving forward can learn from those mistakes and or just have that experience going into it. And that could be said of obviously a lot of things. But I love hearing that when they get together. And I feel like that also happens at the parks department level of like, especially for you in the Twin Cities, where one community gets a course and the next community over is like, wait, they have a course and they're seeing how many people there and they're running what tournaments and what major is going to be in town or whatever. Like that, that competition kind of drives the shareholders, the stakeholders, so to speak, being these communities and these parks and whatnot. So I love to hear that. What do you feel like is in the immediate future? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what's in the immediate future? We'll say 5 years for African disc golf. Give us a prediction.
Gosh, I love this. You're asking me the exact questions I asked the like eight interviews.
Are
that
you
I did
saying I'm
down there,
almost as
back to
smart as
back.
you,
No, this
Joey?
is great because I've thought these same answers because I've asked them all. No, so this will be my answer will be mixed in with what I've heard from them directly. So this is great that you asked that. So I think they have some high skill players. There's some Zambians that are mid 980s.
Dang.
Yeah.
Those guys have been playing for almost a decade. There's all these the immediate questions like, oh, who could make it on the pro tour? I think it's more likely that a woman makes it on the pro tour than a man. I just think that uh, they have yet to have any course that has like any semblance of like tour level shot shaping. They are obviously like Ugandans and Zambians and South Africans that are successful at the courses in Africa. And of the ones that I've played, and I mean, I don't think there's anything that I haven't played that's much harder. It's all, birdie or die. There's some technique involved. In fact, I mean, the one at Nije University is really great. I think a lot of your like players would love that course. Like wooded, beautiful trees, elevation, fun lines, throwing your putter a lot. You got to hit gaps. Like you can certainly like take bogeys out there, but um, I just don't think that they have the courses yet to develop a MPO tour level player. I think FPO might happen. If that was their biggest question to me, like, could we make it on tour? Do we want to see someone on tour? And my kind of to them was just like, okay, let's not look at this as like a tower, let's look at this as like a pyramid. We got to build like a foundation first of competitive disc golf over here. And then like when we have enough of a competitive base that demands like a better course to be, or better courses to start to exist, like right now all the courses that are being built are beginner courses, and that's the courses that even the top players in Africa are playing on, are these beginner courses. They're not graduating into better courses. So I think in the next 5 years, just kind of these intercontinental tournaments or inter-country tournaments. The African Championships next November is going to be held in uh, South Africa, and then I know Uganda is planning a big event for the global women's event. I'm forgetting the acronym for that, but
WGE, Women's Global.
WGE, the Women's Global Event.
Yep.
They're planning a big thing, and then there's the it might be African Junior Championship. They're trying to get they saw the major status, the junior major outside the US and Europe, and they were really inspired by that, so they're just trying to do some junior stuff, and then the African Championships in November. And I think just a lot of that. Like they have each one of those little hubs has their annual tournament. There's the Ethiopian Open, which is happening in a week. There's the Kenyan Open. There's the there's the Uganda Open, which depends on the name, but they have one every year. The Zambia Open is in March. So as long as those continue to attract players, they have to fly. I mean, that's a big thing. It's really a crazy scene to try and grow. And even when it happened in Mexico, I was really impressed. A lot of these 40 or 50 people, I mean, they're weekend warriors and they're flying around. And it's obviously not quite as expensive to do it, but it's not like you can't drive to some of these tournaments. And certainly not in Africa. You can't drive to these tournaments. So even the fact that we had this summit was because of the PDGA sponsoring multiple flights to the summit for many of the representatives through grants from the Marco Polo. I don't know if it's specifically Marco Polo for the flights or not, but I know that the Africans do a very good job with their ceremonies, and they do a really good job thanking everyone. So I was very aware of who it was responsible for the summit.
And we know, well, I guess we don't know the future of disc golf in like the World Games. You know, we had it this year, but we're still waiting. I'm sure they're still waiting to hear based on the success. But I would have to think that would be a stretch goal in the next couple of years, is to get some teams from different countries in Africa to do the doubles events in wherever the next World Games is. I don't know where. I know we were just in China, but I don't know where the next one is offhand. I think it was mentioned. I think we mentioned it earlier this year, and it's out of my brain. But I would guess that has to be a stretch goal. Was anything talked about World Games at all, or was that not even no one even thought about it?
No, it was mentioned, and then also the World Team Championships that was most recently held in Australia, and then it's coming up back in a place that we both love, Terry, in Croatia. Dinko, and Tina and Maya. Johnny, have you been over there?
I have not. No, I have not. Actually, I have not been to Europe.
Okay.
I have to get over there. I have not been to Europe at all. So I was able to go to Japan a few years ago, but yeah.
I gotta say, I think we both need to go to a Halloween event over there. Those guys throw an unbelievable event. The Drava Forester, and
the greatest tournament maybe in the world. Like
you get to go see Derek Robbins and
Louisa.
I mean, it's I've been there for the Pro Forester, but going for the Drava Forester, that seems like an experience I think we should both do, Johnny. We need to make that happen.
I would absolutely love to. It's it makes it a little bit tougher when, you know, the people upstairs namely my wife and kids.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
I thought you bought the big man.
Not the big man upstairs, but the family upstairs actually, because I have been able to go on so many trips for disc golf in my in the last 10 or 12 years that we're finally getting to the point where my wife is looking at me. She's like, "Cool, we can go." And we can go,
Yay.
not you, but we. So I would love to be able to do something like that. Bring my kids or my daughter and my son or my wife all along to do something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun in general. I think our first trip that we really want to do is going to be over to Northern Europe, though. Maybe check out some ancestry and stuff.
Yeah, Northern Europe is beautiful. Also, happy birthday to Violet.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think I think that the world team thing that is a great goal for them. I actually had the really cool pleasure of donating the first camera that I ever bought when I didn't buy it. My parents gave it to me when I was 16 years old, and I gave that and a tripod and an SD card and a reader and some batteries to kind of the like second in command down in Uganda, Vincent, and Vincent was the guy who ran the tournament. He's the TD with 160 kids, and he's got a little assistant, and they take it so officially, all this disc golf stuff. It's unbelievable.
That's
I mean,
great.
these guys are all college kids, and they're just like so serious that this kid like runs the Instagram account, and they're out using the camera, and I just like I was out playing my first round, and I'm like looking off through the trees, and there's this kid standing shooting with the camera, and I'm looking, and I'm like, man, that looks like such a familiar camera. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my camera. It's here after all these. I sent it down in January or February, right after Supreme Flight Open. There was a team that went down, and that's when I donated it. And I think that's like a big plus for them. They've been using it a lot. I think just using the power of social media has been a really big bonus for a lot of these kind of exposure of these smaller sports communities in developing nations. It's just a good way to kind of like get your image out, especially if you do it well, and have some sort of documentation. Is better than nothing. And they have so many people that would repost it. Like that's what I told these guys down there. They were asking me like how they can get seen. I'm like, it's the off season right now. It's warm down here. Just you got a nice camera, get a couple clips of the kids like making some ace rounds. I think a lot of us who are disc golf diehards remember the clip of the Zambian kids slinging forehands like one after the other that made it on Sports Center. And I mean, that's obviously the peak of the mountain. But I say, like, Paul Macbeth Foundation, you play. Think of all the accounts of the players who have been here. Like, just tag them in stories, and these people will post daily content that sits on their account for 24 hours. So, I think just getting eyes on what they're doing. I know our course in Kenya has gotten a lot of play from the tourism side of it. People coming to Kenya for other reasons, and then the course being on a wildlife estate, so you can actually like you can go on UDisc and look at the pictures, but there's giraffes in the background of your green, and just kind of like grazing in amongst the course. So there's some tourism aspect to some of these courses in a lot of these parts of Africa that kind of make it even cooler. So the second half of our trip, we went to Rwanda, which is right next door. It was a 45-minute flight from Kampala. So that was the second week. And we installed the first course in Rwanda with, our contingency there. The guy, Emmanuel, he's been a disc golf, a frisbee lover since 2018. He's been playing Ultimate. And then in like 2020, started messing around with disc golf thanks to John Lutzo.
Yep.
Lutzo.
Yeah, he lives about 40 minutes from us right here, Lutzo.
Yeah, I know.
They call him
He's from
Roundhouse.
your neck of the woods.
Yep.
Yeah, so Roundhouse sent him a basket in COVID, and then also went to I think this was Kenya Open or Ethiopian. I think it was Kenya Open, and they met up. Emmanuel came out. and they got some more discs. And John was who connected Emmanuel to us with the foundation, and we already had Avery with us, and so we hopped over with the whole crew to Rwanda and installed, yeah, a pretty sweet course. The baskets were made in Uganda.
Mm.
I mean, Israel's got this whole thing. I mean, he is an absolute asset to the team down there. He has the whole setup. He's got a place to get the baskets made, designed by Sean Dietrich, who's come on a bunch of Paul Macbeth Foundation trips. We call it the Dietrich Star Pro. That's the Avery
Nice.
Jenkins. That's an Avery Jenkins
Signature.
coin name, but
Okay.
they look good. They catch,
Yeah.
honestly. We putted on them a couple times, me and Avery, and we said, "Boy, these catch better than some baskets on tour."
Yeah. Perfect. Well,
And
that's
they're made in Africa, so and that's a huge help. That is massive. I don't think people realize how important it is to have most of the stuff being
sourced.
made in country. Even getting them from Uganda to Rwanda was a hassle. For like 4 days, we were calling and oh, okay, they're on the border, but they're on the Ugandan side of the border, and we have to pay this guy, and we have a guy who's there to like oversee it go through, and each customs agent like wants a fee. And then it's on the other side of the border, but it's still at the border, and it hasn't been cleared on the other side. And I mean, it is a whole thing to
Oh
get
yeah.
your equipment set. And the hired help that we had was the experiences are never ending. And we had a great time. And we hacked a course out of the jungle. We were able to capture a lot of cool media. We just kind of like changed up our approach. We've done documentaries in the past, and this time we did a lot more focus on just kind of getting like social media stuff shot and posted. So if you go look at Uplay or the Paul Macbeth Foundation, especially the Paul Macbeth Foundation, there's a lot of good content there
Yeah.
from the course build. But yeah, that was a new course. It must be like country 27, I think, for the Macbeth Foundation now. Um, it's
Yes.
pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. And first of all, congrats, but also you're exactly right. Especially on the socials side, I watched probably every one of those videos that came out with you guys doing the course, you and Avery talking, lots of those different things throughout, which again continues to spread that awareness in such a great way. Switching gears just a little bit, or a lot, I should say. Obviously, you're talking about that media component and things that you've been doing there. You wear a lot of different hats, so I guess my question is, what's your hat rack look like, right? Like what hats do you want to be wearing most often, and what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I would love to be like a established touring pro, like inside the top 50 in the world. I think
Okay.
that's uh yeah, that's always been like a dream of mine since I was like a little kid, was to be a pro athlete of some sort. And I think that disc golf presents like the most viable chance. And yeah, last year fracturing the L5, that I mean that eats 35 weeks out of the middle of your season. So that kind of washes that. You learn a lot. When a bone heals like that, it's really hard to break it again. It's also just like the way it happened. I really understand kind of the process that it broke. So I don't know. That's kind of all I can take from that year. But that was like my goal was to compete at every tour event, and I had a full tour card. Like that was the idea. I love shooting media. I love the fact that I have my independent media company, and the contracts that I have are really great. Um, my girlfriend Maria has gotten better and better and better and better at shooting and editing. And that kind of like takes a lot off of my stress plate. It still allows me to be like very involved, but she's just been really incredible, especially in Africa. I mean, I spent almost the entire time like hacking away at the course, and she almost all of like the stories that I posted, that's like me with my phone, but like all of the fancy looking footage was shot and colored and edited all by her. So that was kind of like the idea for this year, was to really get her comfortable, and then just by unfortunate circumstances, like I got a bunch of time to just do a bunch of work on that. So um, I think I have plenty of ambition in the rest of disc golf. I think like once I have proven to myself either that I am like capable of touring at some level, or I have proven to myself that I'm not. So I want like one complete season. That's basically what I'm like hoping for next year. I have to apply for a tour card exemption, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I think until I'm 30 something, I'd like to try to keep my body in good shape and try to compete at the tournaments that I can play at. But I definitely have other interests, both filming, but also honestly, like even when you were saying it about the Macbeth Foundation, like there is a part of my head that is just like, boy, I should just drop everything and work full time for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they do, um, you know, they're not always hiring, but there are opportunities there that I've certainly like passed like on the full time option of those, and helped them kind of when I can on the side. So I've certainly like pushed stuff aside in order to keep that playing window open. And kind of like keep the 7-year-old little part of my brain like happy. And we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But I'd love to just like give it a chance. And then go from there. Because I like playing tournaments, but some of the stretches this year, I still had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so one of the other things in particular that you've been doing, aside from lots of different media and filming and different organizations and brands, and then playing, but then also on top of it, a new podcast that has come onto the scene. And for those that maybe aren't familiar, how would you describe this style that you guys are bringing in the disc golf podcast world?
Crushed pepper. Um, I mean, I think we always have had conversations at our Airbnbs that we always just joke at the end that, oh man, if we had had mics out and recorded that. And I think, I mean, gosh, isn't that how like 90% of podcasts around the world start?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we thought that a few times, and um, both Eagle and Simon expressed sort of like, yeah, I want to do the podcast. I just don't want to do any of the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I mean, I think we could do that. Like, how can we just like have it so that you just have to like flip on your computer and like press record, and like maybe there's like one thing you have to, you know,
Sure.
have right, one knob. And that's it. And we me and Will Davis, the MVP social media manager, he's the editor of the podcast. He was on the
Mm.
podcast. We kind of figured out a way to do that for them. In season, that's its own beast that I have like full control there. So they really do just show up and grab the mic and leave,
Mm-hmm.
and that's easy. But we were able to set up a remote system that made it feasible. So then it was sort of like, okay, like now it's like when push comes to shove, like, do you actually want to do it? We could set this up. And they both seemed interested. This is about a year ago. So right about a year ago, we ordered the, I guess I'm on video. I can show you right here. We ordered these things. We
Okay,
ordered
some actual, yeah,
these
yeah,
mics right here.
yeah.
And
They look familiar, similar.
yeah,
There's some
they do the job. So, um, yeah. It was easy. It started out with a lot more segments, some rigidness to it. And I think kind of halfway through the year, we just decided to kind of lose a lot of that. We still have a few segments that are pretty great. We have an email address that uh, has gotten better and better. The emails that we get are great. And that's fun way for the fans to interact. And yeah, I think the more loose it's gotten with like the less amount of segments, we were doing like mostly me was like doing kind of like some news based stuff, and I don't know, we just like we were all kind of like, man, maybe that's like not what we care about, and so we do talk about news at tournaments that is like weird and unique that like caught our attention, but we try not to be. There's plenty of news podcasts.
Yeah.
And so we have really kind of shed some of that and really tried to go like way more philosophical and just like let it be easy. And on tour, there's like lots of disc golf talk anyway. So that doesn't really need to be forced with segments. I think, yeah, my job is to try and balance how much I want to ramble, because obviously I want to ramble the whole time. So I have to balance that. But also those two are introverts, and they do because I've asked off camera like how much they, and they're happy to let me go sometimes because they don't want to try and fill that time. But then also as sort of like the de facto host of the podcast, I need to I try really hard to set them up with kind of deeper, thoughtful questions that like spark some interest. And um, yeah, it's been really fun. I love doing it. We have a great time. We're really great friends, the three of us. So
Mhm.
I think that shows on that podcast, and I think it as it's gone on, it's gotten goofier for sure.
Dare I ask, is there, especially since it was just asked of us a week or two ago, is there an end goal? Or is there a time where maybe you think like logically this disbands, have you not worried about any of those things yet?
Yeah, I don't think we've worried about it. I think there is some ideas. I mean, first of all, I've been impressed with the reception.
Mm.
I don't think we expected what we have gotten as far as like volume of listens, but just like feedback from fans. I mean, that's like so much of my interactions at tournaments is people who come up to me randomly, like in the crowd when I'm
Hmm.
filming, asking me about podcast questions. And um, so I think the goal was always just to try to like peel back the curtain for an hour and let people in. And I think that's like always going to continue to be the goal. Just give them a little glimpse and try to be as like raw as possible. And I think for guys whose brands as big as Eagle and Simons are, I think that that's like super valuable. I think that I mean, I just don't think that, those guys, they're always on stage, and
Hmm.
there's something about that audio only that is just a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, you're not. It's post produced, so it's just full like relax mode, and that's the way that those guys, I think, you can really see some of their true colors. I just think uh they feel a little bit more comfortable, um
Uh,
and that's rare for them.
uh, yeah, and with that, I mean, especially with how entertaining and of course bright and everything else that those guys are. What was the thing that like your ears perked up the most or your jaw dropped that either one of them said where you're like maybe it was disbelief, maybe it was shock, Maybe it was awe. I don't know. But is there any moment in the last year or so when you're like, huh? Like you almost couldn't believe they said something in particular,
Last
good, bad, or
week.
indifferent? Okay, what?
Last week, Eagle told us a story about uh he was in the well so I was encouraging our listeners to email us like their craziest disc golf stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had seen some clips of other like podcasts reading some listener stories, and I thought
Mm-hmm.
that would be pretty funny way to engage our people. And I was like, I want your craziest stories. They have to be crazy. And so Eagle offered up an example, and his example was that um he was in the sauna steam room complex in Boulder, and it was really crowded in the steam room, and there was like no room on the bench, so he just kind of squatted down in the corner, and this like guy came in to the steam room and just stood right kind of next to him by the stove and just farted right in his face.
Wow. Okay.
And Eagle just told that to us right on the podcast, and I mean, Simon and I could not believe that. I was just like, wow. It was great. I think there's a part of all three of us that is still very young and youthful at heart, and there's a lot of our off-camera interactions that very much like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why we're like trying to encapsulate it with like some moments of the podcast. I think Simon um is amazing, and his personality is really amazing. And I don't think that, parts of it are not really awesome for the public eye, uh, per se, uh, with this like kind of like young teenage humor. That isn't like the most professional always at like big tournaments, but like on the podcast, it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to like give them little glimpses into that, give the fans little glimpses of that version of Simon. And that's the same with what I've done with Calvin's Instagram. Like Calvin has that same, and I think we get to see a bit more of that, like kind of that trash talk, kind of him and Zach's banter. It's really pretty great, and that was like I've been running his Instagram since the beginning of 2024, and that's like the same goal. It's just to show him, kind of, yeah, just how goofy he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's,
And I think everybody loves it when they get, like you said, they pull back the curtain, they actually get to see it, see a little bit more of that personality. And a lot of players are not the type that will put in, either don't feel comfortable or put in the effort to create that content, but they don't mind being featured in it when someone else is making it. And that's where
right.
people can step in and do them the solid, or have a part-time job doing it, or whatever the case is. Real quick then, I'm looking, for instance, at your last podcast that says it was 1 hour and 14 minutes. If you had to guess, knowing that that's post-produced on, was your original filming or recording, sorry,
Oh, sure.
1 hour and 30
time?
minutes? Was it 2
No,
hours? Was it 1 hour and 15 minutes and you literally just cleaned up 30 seconds here and there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. We're just cleaning up like random noises, burps, farts, anything that
Sure.
might
Okay.
make it
So not necessarily
I used to do that on our podcast. I used to like go through
when Johnny cared.
edit out coughs and things like sniffles or hiccups, weird noises. And then I realized, you know what, I'm putting it on YouTube anyway, so someone that's watching on YouTube is going to hear or see all of that because we do it live. And I was like, there's no point. It just adds, for our podcast. I'm like, it just adds like an extra hour or two of my time.
And we have an editor, so I if I had to do it, I don't know if I would, but we have Will Davis, and it's produced by MVP, so there is a level of
professionality.
yeah, for sure.
It makes sense.
So let's segue over to there quick, and then we'll start to wrap it up. But 2026 season around the corner. Any insights, thoughts? I don't even want to say inside scoop or drama. I'm not digging or fishing for anything, but anything that maybe you're looking forward to, or stuff that's happening around the corner in 2026, whether that's you or your affiliation and MVP and other sponsors. Like where does that stuff sit for you as we head into 2026?
Yeah, I've got plenty of exciting things to look forward to with MVP and the podcast. As far as other things that I'm looking forward to, I think the new start of the tour is cool and refreshing for everyone. I know it sucks for the Europeans who don't want to fill off weeks of tournaments. But I just can't, like, I have been saying this on multiple shows, including my own, about the schedule that I'm happy for next year, and I always feel guilty saying it. With also realizing it's the Maria, it's the Estonia part of me that remembers that yes, it's nice for the Americans in cars.
Right.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing kind of the new Discraft lineup. I'm not sure, kind of. Honestly, I'm just as much in the dark as anybody, but it seems like there's going to be some cutting. So that'll be interesting to see.
I mean,
The doubles thing.
it was already
that's
announced.
exciting.
Obviously, Gossage is probably no longer going to be with Discraft. That's what a lot of people are saying at this point. So, if the question is there going to be even more cutting? Are we going to see, a trim from 14 or whatever they're at down to 8 or 7 or 10? I don't know. It's going to be.
I think maybe 10. I don't know. Like I feel like maybe like Corey Ellis or Dickerson. Those
Macbeth
could be
only won
names
once
that
last
they-
year. I mean, we could.
Yeah, dump that lightweight.
What's that guy done lately?
Wait, didn't he win twice?
Yeah. Oh, maybe he did.
Yeah.
It took him
He
a long
won
time.
twice.
Yeah, he
won
won twice.
I mean, that's true. That's true. But I think 2025 was better than 24.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see man, who goes where. There's some good available players too that even like were unsponsored. I'm just thinking of like some European players like I'm curious to see. I'm always curious to see like European expansion and interest.
Yeah, but who's
Estonia
got the
major
money? Who wants to
continuing
pay?
move down.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of
right.
good
I just
golfers
think
out
that's
there,
the-
but
it's like one of the only places that the market is like actually growing, like, and growing at a rate that is like pretty impressive. I think in the US we're not like losing players, but we're certainly back to like a pre-COVID growth rate. And I think Europe is still kind of just feeding off of that frenzy. I couldn't believe that Norway passed Finland in PDGA members. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
That's insane to wrap my head around. But you're right, Terry. Like, where's the money going to come from? Honestly, that's the greatest question out there. And I think that, man, I mean, if you're a player out there right now trying to tour and you're not like actively thinking about how to make content somehow, it's just difficult in this type of a sport. It's just not the problem that I think a lot of fans or players get confused is the correlation between winning and making a bunch of money, and that's just not that doesn't exist in disc golf. The correlation is, do you sell products, and that is what makes you money, both in your sales like portions, but also in the contracts that you get offered by retail and manufacturing sponsors. And winning is like a component of pushing plastic. But having a social media brand, you would argue, is sometimes equal, if not more important. And you look at the biggest players, they all invest in it if they aren't already big because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, players we're gonna find out kind of who's valuable and who's not, honestly, because if you're even like you said, if you're a mid-level player but you don't sell plastic, I don't care if you're 1028 rated. If you're not pushing plastic or social media, how valuable are you? Or are we going to see someone like, we'll say, a Corey Ellis, who was on our show last week, who's talking about going out and trying to do clinics on weekdays with people? Guess what? I'll be there on Wednesday or Thursday. Is that enough to help kind of promote your brand, build your following, even if you're not as strong on the social media level? Does a manufacturer find value in that? Because that's how the sport, and obviously we're very different. That's how we used to grow. That was 20 years ago, where everybody's local pro. That's what you threw. We threw a lot of Innova around here because of Barry Schultz. That's just the way it was. Minnesota was Discraft because of Timmy Gill. And
then
others.
In my it was Prodigy country when it was when I was coming into it now, and it's. The baskets are all still there in a lot of the courses, so that hasn't really changed. But,
that goes to show you, because I remember Kale in my head still like Discraft, but then he went to Prodigy, and that pushed a lot of Minnesota to Prodigy. Obviously, Michigan is, primarily Discraft, but we've got MVP, which is exploding, and it just keeps pushing and pushing. Like, it's kind of funny that both those powerhouses are in the same state and not too far apart. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue too that they're the two biggest disc golf manufacturers. I still think Innova still has a hold there, but with MVP's like recent kind of surging in the last few years, two of the 3 or 4 biggest manufacturers of discs, right in that 1 hour mark from each other. So, I think I think every disc golf company, whether it's a manufacturer or a small retailer, or a player, you need to look at I call it the 3 economic rings of disc golf. That's just my term that I made.
Oh, is this trademarked?
Basically, no, it's just Joey Disc Golf Economics.
Okay.
So basically, you have 3 groups of fans, and they are all interact with disc golf in a different frequency, and they can all be kind of catered towards, but in different ways with different levels of success. So you have like your outer ring, which is like maybe 4 or 5 million people, and that's like people who touch a disc like once a year minimum and go out and play. And then you have your like second ring, and that's like maybe 300, 400,000, let's say 400,000 people, and that's like your PDGA members, maybe your active members, maybe plus another 100,000 people who play a little bit more regularly than like once or twice a year. And then you have your inner ring, and that's maybe like 100,000, maybe a little less than 100,000 people. And that's like your Disc Golf Network subscribers and your diehard fans. And I think that every disc golf player and disc golf brands and companies, they need to understand those 3 groups of people. They need to understand the strategies of how to create products that cater to those 3 groups of people. How do you take your inner ring of people and create content or create products that they go nuts for? MVP, I think, does a really great job of catering to their diehard fan base, right? I mean, Gyropalooza is the diehard ultimatum, right? And so, but also looking at your bigger circles of like, how can we make some things that reach these larger rings of people and maybe hook them a little bit more, or don't, because you don't need them to buy like a bunch of stuff. If you're catering to this outer ring of people, you just need to sell one thing to a bunch of people. And so just like understanding kind of that strategy as a player, I think, as a Corey Ellis, as someone like myself, focusing on those diehard rings of people, that's like all we can afford to do. But also, like, that's what supports a player. I mean, you're not going to get that outer ring of people. Like, that's not what I'm worried about. I am worried about the diehard. My customer base is 100,000 people or less. That it's within that group, within the inner ring. And so I'm like thinking when I'm thinking about what am I going to get on the road to sell these people, I'm thinking about stuff for them. And when I'm thinking about what type of content do I want to make for the players' Instagrams, like I'm thinking about the same stuff. But I think, yeah, companies understanding kind of even like why you're sponsoring players. Is it to are you? I mean, you're sponsoring Paul McBeth for a different reason than you're sponsoring Chris Dickerson. It's not the same. And or Corey Ellis. I mean, like if Corey Ellis is going to go and promote to the inner ring of fans and do these awesome clinics for the people who want to pay and come out and see it, like that should be something you would want to support. And then Paul McBeth is catering to obviously the diehards love Paul McBeth, but also he's one of the few players who does reach those larger audiences of players. And so he's valuable in a much larger sense, obviously. But I think um, I'm telling this to a lot of smaller players on tours. Like cater to your diehards. Like find your diehards, find what they want, listen to them, have a Discord, have a way to interact with them, a way to get feedback from them of what they like about what you're giving them, what you're putting out. Because more often than not, they like the person, and they like that they're supporting, somebody who's on the road, and they're gonna buy what you put out. Uh, and so just like showing them that you care and that you're listening as a smaller player, like that's so huge for your financial success.
Because a marketing book says something about finding your tribe, and that all
Yeah.
fits under that category for sure. It makes perfect sense, for sure. Being part of it and knowing and finding your tribe in a lot of different ways. Joey, it's been great to catch up with you, and I think there's probably a lot of people out there that are envious of the experiences. And I don't want to say the experiences you've been given, because they're experiences you've earned. You're obviously out there working hard, and you're putting yourself out there, and you're putting in the effort to make it all happen. Did you ever think 10 years ago that disc golf, I know you talked about being a professional disc golfer in one of the top 50, but did you ever think disc golf would provide these opportunities and set this stage the way it has for you to ultimately embrace it? But did you ever think all of this would happen?
It's a great question. I just sent in or renewed my passport, so that was 10 years ago. I looked at that kid. That was not the same kid, and I the passport lady asked me. She's like, "What would you say to that kid?" And I thought like the Dr. Seuss quote, "Oh, the places you'll go." That's like what I don't think I quite saw it happening. I do remember like my third or fourth event ever in 2019. Uh, at the end of some week, as we were going to the next one, just thinking like, "Oh my god, it clicked!" And I was like, finally, like had a little bit of solid footing under me, and I felt like I kind of understood a little bit of the system. And it was fun, and the way that I like to live with the adrenaline and the change and the travel. It's been amazing. But yeah, I mean, I am. There are parts of it that I feel very lucky to have stumbled into. Just the beginning, the people that mentored me, and took me under their wing and gave me like the first chances. Obviously, like I also like seized a lot of opportunities myself. That's the tattoo I have right here on my arm. It says "Seize every opportunity." So I do live by that a lot, and yeah, I've definitely carved out a crazy little world, and it's only possible in kind of niche sports or niche worlds like this that you can kind of do life the way that I've done it. This will be I guess this is the end of my 7th year on the road. So pretty awesome. And yeah, I'm very fortunate, but very excited to keep at it. until I get burned out. And I mean, I continue to be amazed. Honestly, I do continue to be amazed at my like level of excitement. Even now, when I think about tomorrow, I'm gonna go throw in the dome. Like, and I
Mm.
haven't thrown like real drivers in. I mean, we threw a bit in Rwanda, but it wasn't
Mhm.
anything more than mid. So that excitement, I'm just continually amazed by the fact that I still get excited to go out and play like every time. So that's just the power of the sport, I guess. It must be something.
Yeah, it certainly, well, which is obviously good to hear, and that certainly is what keeps us all coming back in one form or another, and running into people that maybe aren't even throwing anymore these days. That's another story a little later in the show, but uh, there's always something that's I feel like bringing us back, and even if it's not
That's
playing
the
daily.
beauty with John, your buddy John. He really can't throw a lot anymore with his
Hmm.
arthritis, and he's got carpal tunnel, but he still contributes. I mean, he has single-handedly contributed to the growth of disc golf in Africa
Exactly.
so much.
Yep.
And then he was down there in Rwanda, and he got an ace down on the new course. So
Hmm.
just to have like a full circle moment like that is like so special. And obviously, like, I don't know, I think that this type of life is not standard and not something that your average person would like stumble into. And I think a lot of the people who do fall into the tour, we all kind of like find a similar like kind of misfitness to it. I mean, it's a bit of the circus,
Hmm.
and we all kind of like bond over that the same way that I think lots of local disc golf communities bond. But we just all like share this kind of experience of a super unique life, and we all kind of really enjoy the community trying to help everybody get it on. And
Mhm.
I mean, guys like yourself and others that I've met along the way is certainly why I've stayed as long as I have, and I hope to continue.
Well, I know it won't be from a lack of effort and putting yourself out there, and you continue to do a bunch of great work. I certainly see that path. I know you have a lot of options, but I see the path of the places like the Macbeth Foundation, being a project manager of sorts, or whatever your role would want to be within that. Something like that makes perfect sense, and I know you've got a lot of different options and ideas, but that one seems incredibly fitting for you as a guy who I know has traveled since a very young age, and there's so much additional excitement every time you're going to these different countries and new experiences. So Joey, we appreciate it. By all means, take the floor for a minute to thank any supporters, sponsors, where people can find you, follow you, support you, all of that, the socials. As Mike Barnett says, talk to the people.
Talk to the people. Yeah, I gonna be having a new website soon where I you can buy all my stuff. I have some discs still for sale. And then this weekend we're gonna be doing a whatnot,
Mm,
me and a fellow cheesehead of yours, Eli Swanson. We're going to be doing
nice.
a fun whatnot because you know what? Everybody who has a disc golf collection is doing a whatnot these days.
Why not?
Everyone,
Why
and
not?
we are going to also do it. I have a, I will say, uh, I will not have a nicer whatnot than this. I went through and got all the best things I could part with out of my MVP
Mm,
collection. So
Ooh.
okay, going
that's
big.
coming up, but mostly
Make sure you ship those in
thanks to you
boxes.
guys.
Mm,
Yeah, no, seriously.
just saying.
No, I have a
I could.
bunch of.
Mm.
You have some nice ones. Should I order them from you? Is that what you're
Well,
telling me?
that was the not so subtle hint I was trying to make.
I've had. You know what, Terry? I don't have enough bubble mailers, so
That's why
I will
boxes are
message
better
you after
anyway.
the show.
All
Yeah,
right, all right.
but no, thanks to you guys for having me on,
Of
and
course.
yeah, be sure to continue to listen to this amazing show every Tuesday. And if you are driving anywhere and you want to listen to a couple of gyro heads mumble along,
Mm-hmm,
uh,
mm-hmm.
be sure to come over and check us out on any listening platforms that you enjoy. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the snow, and always appreciate the invite. Thank you so much for
course.
having me on.
All right, Joey. Have a good night. Take care.
Good night, Joey.
Joey Temali. Haha, we almost did that in sync. Of course,
From
podcast.
So many things.
Yeah, it's Crushed Pepper. Make sure you go check it out.
Yeah.
Just Sunday, they dropped their latest one, hour and 14 minutes. So it'd be like a mini show for us.
It would be a mini show for us.
Or, AKA, a normal length podcast for many other normal peoples and shows.
I was trying to think of, because I don't listen to our own podcast. I was trying to think of some of the longer podcasts. Oh my God, I couldn't stand to listen to you even more. Yeah, most of the podcasts I listen to are about an hour to an hour and a half. Yeah. There's a few shorter ones that are like an after show, so to speak, that maybe kind of go a little shorter than that. But most of them are about an hour.
Well, tonight we might set some records here. I'm ready. I got things to do, and I've got Florida. I got steps to get in too.
Yeah.
But I've got Florida to get to tomorrow, which after our 19-degree day and the snow from this weekend, usually I don't really care that much about escaping to better weather. I'm kind of ready. It was a long weekend for me, so I'm ready to get to Florida.
That I can understand. You having to be out in the weather all weekend for your event. But I was gonna say the weather isn't bad. Like it's not like super windy and it's chilly. It's definitely it's like winter chilly, but it's not sub-zero winter chilly that we see a couple weeks a year, things like that. But I mean, if I had the opportunity, I would definitely
see you tomorrow, Gainesville. Actually, Jacksonville, and then over to Gainesville. Real quick, I'll read off this weekend. I hosted the Cold Turkey 20.
It was a C-tier event, right?
C-tier.
With an A-tier quality.
No.
Not A-tier weather, that's for sure.
Not A-tier rated weather. It was not a record for amount of people that have withdrawn or quit or DNF'd a tournament for me. We've had one other time I had worse weather for an event, but this was way up there. And understandably, their snowstorm was rolling in on Saturday morning. Like, as I'm setting up Saturday morning for check-in is right when the snowflakes started coming down, and it just piled on inches upon inches throughout the entire day on Saturday, making the course go from green grass essentially to 5, 6, 7 inches of snow. Snowed throughout the entire night. So although it stopped snowing on Sunday morning, right as I was setting up for check-in for the AM side, there was still a ton of fresh snow and a lot of lesser experienced players losing a lot of discs, having a lot of struggles. There were things learned about how to play in winter golf, how crucial spotting is in winter golf, and then what it does to your legs after playing in some fresh snow. So there was experiences gained, let's put it that way. Real quick, I'm just going to run through Jeff Matthews, your champ on the MPO side, held off Christopher Meyer, who we've had on the show in the past, along with Jordan Bustos. Those are your top three in MPO. Our good pal, a guy I've played countless doubles events with back when I threw Frisbees regularly. Mike Schwieger takes down MP40.
I texted him afterwards. I said, congratulations, because I haven't seen Mikey in a while.
Yeah, he does not play that often, so it's great when he comes out and beats a guy who plays all the time, and our other good friend, Steve Howell.
That may be the exact text I sent him.
Yes, so congrats to my good buddy Mike Schwieger, who I got incredible amount of catch-up time with this week. Well, not catch-up, the condiment, but anyway. All right, Gordy takes down MA1. Remy played in her first event. What a weekend to play in your first. Maybe it was it might have been her first sanction event. She shot 100 and then 107 and had the biggest smile out of every player this weekend. So she wins FA1. Bryce Bolin wins wins MA40. Tim H, who's got some Finnish descent, I found out, wins MA50. PDGA 1276, Tom McManus takes down FA65. Unfortunately, uncontested in that sense. But lots of people withdrew, whether it was right before the event or...
Which is, I get it.
You don't want to go... we're in the middle of nowhere, and Nobody wants to drive in a snowstorm.
Yeah, the driving portion, like getting to the event,
that was the problem.
It was the problem, and not even there, because I think getting there in the morning wouldn't have been too bad, because the weather didn't really kick in until like 7 or 8 in the morning when it really started to kind of heavily, I don't say heavily snow, but it started to snow. But I could imagine getting home in that would have been miserable.
Yeah, I know on
After
Sunday morning, one gentleman who should have had about an hour and a half drive said it was closer to 2.5.
Sure.
So I do not blame anyone that we can have a whole nother discussion another day about withdrawals and the refund policy within the PDJ. But that's another story. Caleb takes down MA2. Paul Bowen takes second there. Matthew Clark wins MA3. Ellen Kosanke, who's always at events. Ellen goes uncontested in FA3, and Jake Robinson, congrats, wins in MA4. So those are all. I thank all of the participants that came out that braved the conditions. I don't think any less of you if you withdrew or didn't end up coming to the event, because the conditions were in fact brutal. Mainly purely the driving to and there. But thank you to Discraft, big supporter of the event. Everybody got a couple of really sweet discs. I think I gave one out last week. I did.
You did?
I gave one of those out last week, one of the Cold Turkey Jawbreaker Zones. Most of the players got a Jawbreaker Zone, an ESP Cicada, along with a mini custom stamp buzz, a towel, a personalized keychain, and then lunch. So hopefully everybody felt like they got their value out of the weekend, even if you might have left or lost 10 discs on the course in the snow. So, but thank you so much.
I'll say this: the very first nice day, I'm gonna wander out there and find a bunch of plastic, probably as it's melted away.
Unfortunately, there was plenty of snow to lose discs in, but we made it all work, and I appreciate everyone that came out and had any part of it. And thank you to all of the supporters that threw a few extra dollars in, on the sponsorship options and the lunch options and all of that stuff. So thank you to everyone. I appreciate it.
And that's really the only disc golf tournament we're going to talk about, because there was nothing higher than like a B tier this weekend, if there was even a B tier. From what I could see, there was a women's global event, or a throw pink event, whatever you want to call it. Not the women's global, obviously. A throw pink, I believe, is what they're designated as this weekend. But there was some disc golf social media news. There was. There's some, just disc golf news in general. The first, I guess we'll talk about the more professional thing. The DGPT and Brixton, again, have officially united. I don't exactly understand. So my understanding is for the past 10 years, the Disc Golf Pro Tour has been producing their own disc golf cards.
Okay.
Brixton has also been producing disc golf cards, as we know, and each set kind of builds on whatever. Well, now, next year, I think for the first time, or maybe it's even starting soon, they're actually just going to do one set of cards. They're combining their forces.
Hey-o.
Because Brixton got the rights to the Disc Golf Pro Tour logos and players and all that other fun stuff. Well, now they're going to just say, hey, F it, we're doing one. We're just going to do it once, and we're going to...
Well, that's going to reduce a lot of confusion, thank God.
I kind of will. You're not wrong. And so I'm not saying there's going to be... it's still going to be confusing if you're trying to collect them all, like Pokemon, but there's going to be different card packs with different, relics and chasers and all these other things, but there'll be one set, which I think is very good for the disc golf in general. Having multiple sets gets a little bit odd and off. So that's kind of the big news that we saw announced this past weekend, so to speak. Was really it. And we can talk a little social media news. First of all, congratulations. Big Germ and Jules made an announcement that they are expecting. They are, I believe, 10 weeks along or something along those lines. So announcing a little early. Maybe it was 12, but I don't believe it was the 20 week, which is kind of tradition, so to speak. But congratulations. They're due sometime in August, I believe he said. July or August.
Okay.
So we were wishing nothing but the best for them and the family. And then we saw a marriage this weekend as well between, I honestly don't even know, but KJ USA got married. So
now KJ Miss USA or Mrs. USA.
Miss USA.
Yeah, I guess KJ. Yeah, well, now she'd be Mrs. though.
Yeah, but
Miss USA pageant.
but Miss USA is the way we're gonna go.
Yes.
So congratulations to KJ and Miss USA.
I apologize. I believe it's Marissa. That's I hate to. Let me see if I can do a little scrolling.
You're assuming he's updated his Facebook page.
Oh, he has, and I was right.
Good job, Terry Marissa.
Marissa.
Yep.
Yes, he wrote a few days ago. Yesterday was easily the best day of my life. I love you, Marissa. So I'd assume.
If it's not her, then it's going to be a little weird.
Yes. Congrats to them.
It could be his mom. You never know. I mean, not the pictures, but that saying could have been,
Yes.
But no,
so,
it is. It is.
Congrats,
Marissa.
certainly. And then I think we also saw at least an announcement. I'm honestly not sure when it happened exactly. But Andrew Presnell also with an announcement. And
you're right.
I forget. I don't know.
He did say that he finally found his first lady.
Yes, exactly.
We got the Prez. And
that was the weekend before. It looks like is when it was posted. And I don't feel as bad. I have never met Peyton personally, I don't believe. But congratulations to them as well, if we didn't already talk about it. A couple other things that were announced via social media today. Also, Most Improved Player of the Year on FPO and MPO side. FPO was announced first, I believe. That went to Cadence Burge. Congratulations. And on the MPO side, Paul Kranz getting the Disc Golf Pro Tour Player of the Most Improved Players of the Year. So congrats to them both. You're going to see these awards
rightfully so,
now.
I think, on both of them.
Yeah, you're going to see these awards continue to get unveiled over the next few days, probably as part of their off-season or slow season awards timing. So congrats on that to them. And then I just saw moments ago. Now I wish I wouldn't have clicked away like a silly goose. Did I see that friends over at PDGA Asia made a post that let's see if I can find it quickly. The first permanent 9-hole basket disc golf course in any university in the Philippines is now officially open at Tarlac State University Lucinda campus. Milestone was made possible through the PDGA Marco Polo Grant Project, led by the PDGA in partnership with the PDGA Asia Ambassador Luis Bartoloma and the Disc Golf Association of Philippines. And so congrats to them. There's some posts, and we just mentioned Derek and Luisa and just so many incredible people in order to make that happen. There's some very nice photos of the ribbon cutting ceremony and all of that out there as well. So congrats. I'm not positive, but that may or may not be where I see the tournament taking place in the Philippines in a few months as part of the Southeast Asia tour. If it's there or elsewhere, I don't care. I'm ready. I haven't been to the Philippines yet, so I'm ready.
And I don't know if this was announced right before or right after our podcast, but Silva Saarinen was nominated for the 2026 Athlete of the Year Award at the Finnish Sports Gala. So being recognized, it's always great when someone in our sport is recognized nationwide. So Silva getting the recognition that she rightfully deserves, especially for that country.
She's doing good stuff.
She is.
And stuff like that. All right. I'll admit I don't have a lot more to talk about here and now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to have we'll stand down for a minute. And then when we come back, we can have the after show. Or even there, I don't know if there's going to be a lot.
Real short.
I'm buckling you guys up for gearing you up for a short disappointment. Okay.
Much like many of your days.
I don't know how that goes. Anyway, we want to thank Joey Temali and then extended thanks overall to everyone that he had mentioned. The fact that we're seeing this much growth and disc golf development going on in all of these other countries and continents, but specifically what's happening over there in Africa has been incredible to see. I keep promising Roundhouse, as we discussed earlier, John Lutzow. I've promised him I will get there at some point as well. And it sounds like those they certainly don't need my help. They have it all under control. But I'm excited to get there to check out the scene at some point when I can. It keeps conflicting with other international travel. So congrats to everyone involved with that trip and the Paul Macbeth Foundation. I know that Uplay is matching up to $12,000 worth of donations. They're matching today here on Giving Tuesday. So if you have the time and you still got a couple hours right now, if you go out there and donate, Uplay is also matching, like I said, contributions to the Paul Macbeth Foundation. And what an incredible partnership that's all become as we continue to see it everything grow worldwide. For Johnny V, I'm Terry Miller. Thank you to Joey Temali. That's podcast 584. When we come back, we'll have the after show. And of course, that means some free stuff. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV Podcast 584's After Show.
You know what else can be called the Smashbox?
The makeup line?
Makeup line.
Yeah, there's a makeup company called Smashbox.
Oh, sure. No. My wife's car. Awkward.
Ooh.
Her brand new car that she just got.
Did she let some effing idiot drive it?
She might have. Namely me.
Oh,
No.
that checks out.
We had a very minor incident on Saturday night during the snowstorm. We went to a Friendsgiving. My son was in the back seat, who's 16, still does not have his license, still has no urge to get it, but whatever, that's a whole nother subject. And we're driving all the way there, which is great. A decent amount of traffic at 5 o'clock, more than there probably even should have been. But I'm talking like, hey, this is how you drive in the winter. You got to always maintain your speed, this and that.
You're such a good teacher.
I know. Then on the way home, we get almost all the way home. I'm getting off of my off-ramp, and I'm driving my wife's vehicle. And so the problem is our off-ramp was not plowed, and it hadn't hardly been used, so there weren't a lot of tracks to follow, so to speak. And as I started to merge into the right lane, the car hit ice and we were only going, thankfully, 20 miles an hour because it was pretty bad out there. And the car just started to slide and turn right towards the concrete to the right of the off-ramp. And I'm hitting the brakes. Doesn't matter. It's ice. And we very slowly just boom right into the concrete. And I was so upset at myself. There was no one to be upset at but myself. I was the one driving. Clearly, there was nobody around. I couldn't blame anybody else. Bad luck. Had I been going a little slower.
Driving too fast for conditions. I'm going to write the ticket.
You're probably
payable to me.
Clearly, you're not wrong. I was thinking even going 20 miles an hour in that weather, I hit that ice and there was nothing I could do at that point. Because it
sounds like 15 miles per hour too fast.
It sounds like at least 5 miles per hour too fast. And I just was like, oh. And so I back up a little bit, turn the car, drive home the literal maybe 3/4 of a mile from the exit to my house. Maybe it's a full mile. Get out, look, sure enough, there's some scratches clearly on the bumper and one maybe 4 to 5 inch crack right in the middle of her bumper on the right-hand side. That's it. So, I mean, there was damage, clearly. I felt so bad because my wife she loves to have like a pristine car. That's her. She likes it. She doesn't. She bought the extra like buff and scratch protection.
See if that'll cover it.
I don't think it will, Terry.
I'll try.
So for
I mean, what do you have to lose?
For like door dings and things, like they will like buff out in these things. But I don't think they're gonna do. The bumper's plastic. It's really funny. I never really looked closely at the bumper, but it's like 1,000 pieces. Like it is. There's an outside frame. There's an inside black frame. There's another outside piece. So I'm hoping, based on where the crack is, it's primarily in one section of the bumper, that they'll be able to pop that off and put it in, and then maybe my wife will ignore the other little scratches that are on the other piece, which I doubt. So I don't know what it's going to cost. We're going to wait. There's a slight recall, some minor thing with her vehicle that she needs to bring it in, so she'll probably take care of it at that point. But I felt very bad. I did. I felt
As you should.
so bad. Like I'm just like, oh, it's her car. Not that she was ever going to drive in that weather, because she would not have. But I even said on the way down,
It's her fault.
down to Friendsgiving, I'm like, you know what? We're really not smart for driving in this.
Yeah.
I'm just because
Don't go out unless you have to.
we did not have to go out. We had planned this Friendsgiving for like 2 months, and I was like, we don't have to be doing this. We could cancel this, and we went anyway. And it was just as much my call
you
as it
guys
was
could have
hers.
got on a Zoom call and had fun with your friends.
No, it would have been nearly as much fun. It's not COVID anymore. So anyway, I put my wife's car slightly into a concrete barrier, and I felt bad. My car's fine.
Funny
and nice and warm in the garage.
One thing I noticed as we were trying to get people were leaving the tournament on Saturday or Sunday. I don't remember which day this even was then. It must have been Sunday. One gentleman with a very I don't know, lifted. I was going to say jacked up. I think you get what I mean. Just a lifted, jacked up truck. Was trying to leave, and he kept slipping, and it wasn't catching. And then he kept talking about the four-wheel drive, the front wheels not engaging for some reason. And then he was like literally crawling into the wheel well. I'm like, I don't know much about much, but I know that it scared me for a moment. And I didn't think anything was really going to happen, but he like could fit between the wheel and the frame.
Sure,
he was also a very skinny gentleman, but he was like inside there, touching something on the tires, trying to get the fronts to engage in the four-wheel drive.
Trying to find the four-wheel button?
Yeah, apparently. And it wasn't working. And then a lot of slipping and sliding later, and eventually was unstuck. And I was actually really surprised. Now, I wasn't in nearly as much snow, but for the old 2005 Honda Element that I have, which is not really four-wheel drive.
Of which you've spun before.
No, I think... maybe once.
Maybe not that one, but definitely a different Honda Element.
Yeah, I mean, I went end over end with it once.
Well, that
wasn't even in the winter.
Wasn't counting that. That's
handled actually pretty well overall. I think one thing that you and I have never even really talked about, and what I think maybe we undervalue in Wisconsin, is all the people that tell me about winter tires.
You're not wrong.
It's something I've never taken seriously. But
all weather tires is always what I've always put on the car, and that's just what I've always just forever. But you're right. There are some people that will have a separate set of tires specifically for winter, like winter tires. I have
lots of people do that,
correct.
Apparently, and it's funny that you and
those are rich people, man. Extra set of tires just lying around.
I guess, man, must be nice. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like it's becoming more and more a conversation for people to do. It's not something I've ever done. Like you said, maybe those are just rich people problems and or solutions, I should say. But I've never certainly gone that route. I don't know. Is that something a lot of you guys do? And we live in Wisconsin. It's not like we're not in a state that we're in a state that you would like be questionable or be exempt from it. Like if there's anyone that could or should have better tires, we qualify, right? As one of those places. Like you're in Kentucky or some other place that barely gets snow ever, or a very light dusting throughout the year. maybe no big deal. But here in Wisconsin, I don't know, maybe we need to take it serious.
Maybe. I did count my
maybe
blessings.
Keep you out of the concrete.
No, I did count my blessings that like when we slid, because again I was kind of just barely like changing lanes into the right lane, that the car turned and went bumper first, as opposed to somehow sliding and going like tail end or even side of the car into the concrete, because at least the bumper, again, it's a little crack in a bumper. Hopefully, we'll buff that right out. No. Going into the side on the concrete would have taken like the doors and like that would have been very bad. But thankfully, like I said, count my blessings, it was just the bumper. I'm crossing my fingers that it's going to be, less than $1,000 or something. Because then I was like, well, if it's more, do I claim it on insurance?
Yeah.
What where is that line and whatnot?
Of course.
But
but insurance is usually such a good deal, and
it's such a good deal.
Scammy.
Yeah. Maybe I'll scam them. I'll be like, I don't know what happened. Someone I came out, it was like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter though. I still have to pay the insurance. So no matter whether I tell them I was going 100 miles an hour on the highway in the snow, or whether I would lie and say like, oh no, someone ran into me, it's not going to matter.
Speaking of which, I just happened to see a post on Facebook that talked about looking for a pickup truck that was out there doing destruction in Sussex Village Park, where we have a disc golf course.
Oh, was someone like doing donuts?
I'm unsure as to what it was.
Such a trashy thing to do.
Yeah, you can see how people going out there ripping around in the snow, but like so many things, there's a time and place for that, right? Like there's like appropriate places and like. Out there in the middle of a public park, ripping up a public course or park for that matter, isn't the place.
No. Like it was funny because I was telling my son that when I worked at Best Buy and it would come out to snow like that, sometimes it would be fun just to like whip some shitties in the parking lot in the snow because there was just a few little lights, and if you just gunned it just right, maybe going backwards, you could just whip your car right around. And to me, that makes more sense. Like, if you're going to do something like that, find a big parking lot where you're not tearing up someone's grass, and you're not going to hopefully hit a light or anything like that. You're just, you want to spend some donuts. I can't even fault somebody for that. I can fault them if they're doing it on the grass and tearing up a park like that. That's not acceptable.
This says the truck entered the park and was observed driving recklessly through the grounds, causing significant landscaping damage. Initial estimates indicate maybe several $1,000s.
Oh, that sucks.
It does, because it just costs like everybody money. But anyway, yeah, this weekend in the books tomorrow. This last weekend for the event. Again, thanks to everyone that was part of the cold turkey in any capacity, and looking forward to heading to Gainesville. Depending when you're hearing this, I'm may already be en route, but Gainesville, Florida. Skins match on Thursday, and then one round of action on my channel from the MPO side on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And looking forward to that.
How did you do? I didn't even ask you. How did you do at putting last night? I was piss poor.
I know my second round was great.
Yeah, you said you had like a 15
I had
or
a
something.
15 points out of, I don't know, can you have 20? Is that the max?
Yeah, 20 is the max.
Okay, so I had 15. Because I think I had 3 stations where I hit them all. I don't know what my total was. I don't keep the scores, so it's funny how much I don't ever look.
I don't either.
I just know I'm not necessarily proud of my efforts. I just knew.
No,
that,
I didn't.
I just knew that we had that I had a good second round. My third round was
easier
miserable.
Course too. Like of this particular course, I think of the ones that we've seen, the indoor putting, it's basically 5 stations. You're always putting inside the circle. Circles edging in.
Yeah.
There's usually it felt like last night a lot of the putts were something obstructed you had to go over. Like just not through.
Which does not help
a short guy.
Short people.
And I will say, it isn't my strong suit. There was one that I think was fine for me more so than other people. It was the longest one, of course, but I'm a much more direct putter than a kind of a up and down putter. And I had some problems judging distance when I'm trying to kind of float them in, of all things. So this was not my...
With the tennis table? Table tennis?
Yeah, that one I had a little bit, I think, of advantage over other people because I could still catch, I could see the top, I'd say, third of the basket.
Yeah.
But even so,
Must be
that
nice.
one, yeah, it was. I'm not going to.
Which one are you talking about?
All of them. It felt like, well,
I thought
the first one we had was a Christmas tree between two Christmas trees, which you just had to hit the marksman. But then the second one, you had to go. The second one was
just straight ahead.
Straight ahead. There were some buckets
Again,
there.
through trees.
Yeah, which wasn't too bad.
No,
The third one.
you
Third
had a
one
little
was a
bit of a
tennis.
hyzer.
You had to throw up and over.
No, that was the fourth one.
Third one.
The third one was the one with the buckets.
Third one was bucket.
The second one was right between the trees.
Correct. You're right. Yeah. And then the final two stops were you had to go over a ping pong table. You had to go up and down. And the second one you had to go between two beer half barrels.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you just kind of lift it up and go over. And both of those I performed very poorly at. So it did not. It did
you
not
have
help
no
me
pity
any good.
from me.
No, I don't.
can't
I don't.
even see
I
the
don't.
damn
Ex-
basket.
I don't expect any. I couldn't. It was so tall on the half barrel ones. I could hardly see the basket. I could just catch the top of the rim.
Boo, as you would say.
Yeah, I know. I'm not judging, but in general, that was not my strength. I prefer more putts where, in general, I think what suits me better is more angles, more trying to get low to high, and things like that. But you know, I like the variety that we get pushed with every week. This was a week where people were scoring very well up in towards close to the 50s, and I scored like mid 30s. So, wah, wah.
Right. I'm going to read off the board here. Yo, Terry and Terry, how y'all like late part 2 round a la Blockhouse? I would love that. I have not been to the Blockhouse. I have not been to the Armadillo course, down in Texas. Like those style of like just fun, odd, quirky, makeable tosses, long putts, whatever you want to call them. Like I would probably honestly be there all day long and totally entertained by it.
Same here.
So I feel bad that I haven't made it to any of those at some point. If I were to ever have land that had a course on it, and assuming I didn't have 50 acres to myself, that's probably the style overall. Like this fun, almost more of a social thing. Yeah. That you have people over and you're like, oh, let's go out and, play these goofy challenges. Goofy, maybe not even being the right word, but that's probably the style that I would totally lean into having if I were to ever have a course on my own property.
I could do, honestly, in my backyard, I could probably do 6 or 7 fun.
Yeah, and then I'll run a tournament. Let's do it.
40 to 50 footers.
Yeah.
Just different running back and forth.
It would set up some obstacles.
It would be interesting. I wonder how
get your engineering robotic son out there and make some stuff.
I wonder how
being so damn lazy
city would look at that.
Well, we don't have to know. We don't need to tell them all those stories. We have to use an inflated floppy gut for putting league. Yeah. I could. Okay, guy. Floppy guy. Yeah, I could see those. This Johnny talked about it last week. One of the
inflatable dinosaur we had.
One of the really awkward, semi-difficult putts that we always have at this league, not always, but some weeks have at this league, is they have industrial version floor fans. And rather than blowing just on the floor to dry up the floor and it being wet, they put them up on edge and they blow them up into the air. And then you throwing straight over them and then trying to gauge the lift and obviously the style in which you throw matters so much. Those are really interesting, especially
I love those.
Especially with my buddy last week, Dustin Skorpinski. He got up there and threw. He was latest to the league. And I think he might have went first on that station.
Oh, and didn't realize.
He didn't know there was fans. So although we'd all kind of practiced once or twice or at least saw other people doing it, he got to that station and then just threw his putt normal and it just lifted 3 feet over the basket. He's like, oh. So, and we've seen it in the past, but it's not there every week. So that was pretty funny to see.
Yeah, those are pretty great. I think you could do, and I'm sure they do, a ton of fun stuff with those type of fans because you could
they're so powerful.
Definitely have one going each way, one pushing straight down like a few feet before the basket if you hung it right. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing what they can do with those fans.
Cody says, do you think taller players in general have an advantage over shorter players when it comes to putting? Example, Emerson putts at the basket. We kind of, I think, hit on this a week or two ago.
For putting.
I think, yeah. Short answer is yes. Pardon the
I
pun.
don't know.
Yes, absolutely. All day long, every time, your height would be an advantage. And if you feel like it's not enough or if it's goofy, you can do what Gannon does and get to a knee and still be at some shorter players' heights. I feel like you're talking about 1 in 1,000 putts this year where it disadvantaged Gannon to be tall.
Correct. I think in general, being taller helps.
Whether it's the stretch out, or just no matter what, the longer arms, the longer legs, everything. General.
I will say, being taller and learning the sport, I feel is tougher. Like when you first start out, I had the same problem that I've heard other people say. It's just being my height, 6'6". When I would putt, I think it's harder to putt down at the basket when you're learning. Now, in the long run, I think it's better because you tend to be more nose down. But there were so many times I'd putt over the top of baskets, just trying to putt straight at a basket, and the level that I'm at is above the basket. I'm when I aim straight at a basket, it is the top of the basket. So catching when they had number plates so often, or ramping off those things.
Yeah.
But that is a very short time. Once you start getting in and getting to a higher level, I believe the advantages way outweigh the disadvantages.
Right.
So there's no question that being taller, again, just the longer levers, I think you have much more. You can generate much more. You have much more length to generate, and shorter putts are easier. I'm closer.
And for what it's worth, gravity still works. So it helps. It helps you rather than someone lifting.
Yeah, but there's almost no one. Even, we'll say Emerson Keith, one of the shortest players, if he putts straight, he's not putting into the side of the basket. He's putting into the heart of the chains. Very few people, that are older than 9 years old putt up at the basket, just based on the height of the basket. There are more people that putt down at the basket from like Kelvin and Gannon and things like that. But again, I think in general, that's an advantage because it's harder to putt in a headwind. And so in a headwind, if I'm naturally putting nose down and into the basket, that's going to be better for me versus an Emerson who has to putt straight or more flat at the basket and has the opportunity to lift the nose and lose it versus like a Kelvin, a Gannon. I'm not putting myself in their quality, but our height of type of people where we're putting down, and worst case scenario, we're probably going to lift up and a little bit versus someone else. Now, and tailwind, I don't even, whatever. So I'm putting it. Maybe it disadvantages me in a heavy tailwind because I'm putting down at the basket, but I will take that 100% of the time versus anything else. And you'll never catch me complain about that. The fact that, oh no, my putt dropped a little quicker because my nose is down than it would someone like a you or an Emerson Keith, you shorties. Short kings. Is that what they call you guys? Short kings?
Something like that.
Yeah, sure.
That sounds about right. As Carolina says, tall people love talking about how tall they are.
Yeah, that's because we're better. We're better. We're more genetically evolved than you short people.
Sure. Whatever you need to tell yourself.
I mean, historically, people were shorter. Now we're taller. We have evolved. We are getting to be a taller species. That means taller people are clearly more evolved.
Speaking of slightly taller people, things that are relevant and good taller players at that, not
me.
Not you. I believe I saw, and I hope this has been publicly announced. If not, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Kelvin Heimberg coming to play in Taiwan.
Oh, that sounds cool.
That is going to be the official. That is the plan. That is the official kickoff to the Southeast Asia tour, and I am getting some details that it looks like. As far as I can tell, If that's a secret, don't tell anybody. But it sounds like, Calvin's going to be there. We've talked about the likes of like Clay Edwards and Yakub going to be at all of the Thailand-based events. And then I think they're working still on some scheduling and whatnot. But anyway, I love just seeing it. Again, not a tour that is trying to get to the level of the Pro Tour or anything of that nature. Even the tour down under in New Zealand has much more longer, more established courses. But I love to see a little bit more of our participants check out some of that region of the world, and looking forward to it, as that's going to be starting up in just about a month. So I don't know if Taiwan has good rocks. That's a good question. I've only been there for a few days, which was the time when I met Jackie Chen, and he was able to take down the tournament, beating James Conrad, beating Nate Perkins, beating Philo. So we'll see how that's all going to shake out. Jackie Chen, Manabu, both also registered for that tournament specifically as well. So looking forward to the content all out of my channel.
I mean, Manabu's one of the greatest players to ever come out of that region of the country,
for sure.
But it's so funny because we see him so little that in my mind he's still like 24 years old. And I know he's got to be 40 now.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, just because we've heard of Manabu, God, since like the early 2010s. It's like, it's like, oh, Manabu, he's a phenomenal player out of Japan and this and that. But because I only see him like once every 2 to 3 years, in my brain, I cannot stop thinking like, Manabu, man, that guy, like 24, 25 years old, and he's got to be pushing 40. So, I mean, good for Manabu. He's still 24 in my head.
Well, that's all that really matters.
Someone asked, Terry, are you a fan of fans?
I don't need them, unless it's incredibly hot. But in terms of like going to sleep and having either that white noise or having just a fan on my face, I absolutely don't need them. I'll be a little bit, just a tinge stereotypical, and think that I think a lot of bigger guys are a big fan of having them. So I think that also then be a fair question for me, but I am not someone that needs them. Now, of course, if it's hot out, or you're in Finland and you're in Finland and the air conditioning isn't working, and I have to carry around a fan during these the heat wave that they had during Worlds, that's a very different story, and because there was no AC. But no, I am not a guy that needs. There's so many people that you hear say, I need a fan on, even if it's 20 degrees outside and it's 69 or 70 in my house. So no matter what the conditions are, essentially, I need a fan, and I am not one of my really good friends in growing up was like that, and his whole family was like that. And I always thought it was just at the time I thought it was the weirdest thing. Like every single one in that family had a fan or two every night, no matter what. I was just like,
no, only we personally, hot take. I hate a fan on me when I'm sleeping.
Ooh, what? Even if it's hot?
If it's hot, I don't mind it as much, but it better not be on my face.
Ooh,
it's okay. I think it's okay if it blows up my legs, maybe up to my chest. I do not want a fan in my face when I'm sleeping. It bothers me. And if I'm going to have a fan, it cannot be an oscillating fan.
Oh,
no
that
way.
Inconsistency
it would drive me nuts when I'm trying to sleep.
You need
Suddenly,
that in stuck position.
Just stick it right on me lightly. If it's going to be that way, I don't want to like suddenly be like, oh, it's fanny. Oh no, it's not.
It's
gone.
No, when's it coming back? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I'm so confused.
I hate it. I hate the inconsistency of it. Get me a straight fan right on my, lower torso if I'm sleeping, but not on my face, because I feel like it like dries me out in the middle, like waking up and, your mouth is like cotton mouth when you haven't even been drinking. So no, I prefer not to have a fan on me.
You're such a delicate little
My wife loves a van, and I have to like specifically tell her, like, okay, it can't be pointed
that fan.
It can't be pointed that direction, and make sure it's not changing or oscillating.
You're such a little baby.
I am. I can be, but no.
Cody likes fans for sleeping. Artie says you got a fan of me. Cody, although we're not dealing with this day to day like we used to be, and the technology has improved, but the question is, do your live streaming cameras have overheating problems during peak summer, or do they have fans for battery packs or the camera bodies? So cameras, no, those have not ever proved to be any kind of problem in terms of overheating on the physical camera units themselves, the bodies of the cameras. Now, there's a live streaming unit that is basically a computer with a bunch of modems and doing a whole bunch of things. Those things, I make the joke, like some days it feels like you could cook a cheeseburger on them. Like some of those get very, very toasty. And I'll go as far as saying, even though not quite as hot for me, but same thing even when I'm walking around doing live commentary, I have one of those, but usually it's of a reduced nature because it doesn't need to be as robust. I'll have one of those in a backpack, then carrying that. And so when it's Des Moines Challenge or Discmania Challenge, excuse me, it's the Discmania Challenge. It's 108 with heat index like it was this year. The last thing you want is this computer cooking on your back, like as if it's not, difficult enough. And again, I am a little wimp compared to the camera operators that are running around out there that are also carrying a camera and have one of those backpacks on, and I'm just carrying a little microphone, and lugging myself around. That's part of the reason. And it honestly, it's a little bit uncomfortable. And then it's also the heat, which is why you saw, or some people saw, I stuck that Live View unit, as we call it. I put that into a mini Zuka cart and then pulled that around. And it was honestly just so it wasn't cooking on my back and making me sweat that much more. I pulled that Zuka cart around all 8 rounds up and down the toboggan hills because it was still more comfortable. Now, it wasn't hot out necessarily, but it was still more comfortable than having it on my back. So basically I'm saying shout out to the camera operators who have that on their back 4 hours around, 2 rounds a day, as that thing is cooking on them. And maybe at the Tour Championship or at a certain event, it might feel warm. When you're in Florida in February and it's only 50 or 60, then it might feel a little bit like somebody's giving you a warm hug from behind. But yeah,
I've never had
when you're cooking. When you're cooking like in Idlewild and it's freaking 90 some degrees with 80% humidity, those backpacks aren't great. So anyway, Cody says, imagine walking around with a liquid cooled gaming PC with a massive Jackery unit powering it.
I think we saw that at Mad City Open from Viradisc many years ago.
Yes, when they were making their attempt at live broadcasting many years ago. There's a gentleman who you'll have no interest in particular, Johnny.
Okay.
But he has been pretty successful, it seems as if, on the YouTubes. And he goes by Artie at Home. And he has this setup, which is basically a keyboard with a Bluetooth speaker or two, a keyboard along with a couple other musical attachments.
Oh, you showed me his videos.
And then is wearing a backpack, and then he'll have a watch, kind of strapped to his forearm, along with something that's battery powering this. And he's walking around New York City. And if you're at all into any, I'll say music, but you don't even have to be into music. But he's gained a lot of traction lately, and he just does freestyles where someone will walk up, they'll give him kind of a style of music. He'll start laying down a track, and then usually somebody will take the mic and then sing to it. And then this gentleman, Artie, will actually interject as well. If it's seemingly appropriate, he'll interject and also sing along and freestyle as well. I'm so massively entertained, A, little bit because of the technology, but B, more so, just the creativity, the talent. I think it's just absolutely incredible. And I can't say it enough times. in a year like 2025, and for the last probably 10 or more, there is damn near nothing you can't turn into a money-making career. It may not be glamorous.
Yep.
It may not be millions of dollars, but there is hardly a subject in the world that you somehow can't turn into a money-producing, revenue-producing, hopefully profitable business or side hustle. And I love it.
Agreed.
I love it.
I'm with you.
Times a million. So I hate hearing excuses and BS and alleged obstacles that allegedly can't be overcome. I just there's just so many endless possibilities in the world today, and that's my life coaching minute of the podcast. But there's just, I don't know. I love it.
One last question before we get to our Patreon giveaway. For the crowd, what is your putter and what plastic?
Ooh.
So we'll just restrict this during putting league, Terry.
Oh,
what are you putting?
have you gotten a sponsor?
What are you putting with?
Well, last night I forgot my putters like an idiot.
I saw you had 3 red putters, and I was like,
No,
those are different.
Those weren't mine, so
Okay.
that sucked.
Yeah.
Big shout out, Mike Finley, a local who lent me his 3 putters. I was going to borrow 3 AVRs from Johnny Rumble. They're incredibly gummy and gross. He's been playing with them. They're just like
they seem to work for
floppy.
him very well.
I know. He has special talents.
He does.
PDJ 2540. But then I looked over the shoulder of Mike Finley, and I'm like, what do you got there? And he showed me his, and they had a little bit of a bead. They were AVR driver putters, which is basically an AVR with a bead on it that were very popular in like 2007 or 8. They really made a big run at those. And I borrowed those because, like an idiot, I forgot mine from this weekend.
I've just been leaving mine in my car now.
That's usually where mine are, but for some reason I took mine to the tournament this weekend in my Element, in my other car.
You moved them.
And then somehow I didn't move them back. So that sucked. So to answer your question, though, as of right now, and for the last 15 years, I have been putting with slightly worn, slick-ish, stiffer, not completely board stiff, or KC Pro AVRs.
All right.
And coincidentally, our good friend Mike Schwieger, who won this weekend, busted out his 2 Kelvin Heimberg KC AVRs and showed me that, because he's been putting with those as well. As I said earlier in the show, we've been doubles partners. That was always one thing that was just super convenient for many years. It almost didn't matter if I threw his putter, he threw mine. We putted with very similar putters. And he said to me recently, he said, a lot of mine are getting old. The few times I do play a year, I crack them. And I needed some more. And he goes, I was ready to try out some new putters. And I forgot what he said he tried. He ordered the new Ricky putters at one point. Oh, no, some Ricky Focuses or something. At one point a few months ago, didn't care for them. And then he ordered something else, which he didn't care for. And then the Kelvin Heimberg, white Kelvin Heimberg, KC AVR putters just came out. He ordered those, and he's loving them. So
well, that's great. I'm glad.
And I felt them. I'm like, yeah, these feel great.
Well, maybe you know a guy that can get you some, Terry.
I could have just ordered some myself from Innova.
But you've got plenty of putters if you ever.
You're
never. You don't need them because you're not going to run through your putters.
Yes, I have
in the amount you play, but
yes.
B in the amount of putters you have.
I have a lot. Assuming I continue to putt with them, I have a ton of KC AVR putters. However, on this very show, we talked to Jesse briefly, and it was the outer core that I still have to open and try out because he talked about the outer core being similar to the inner core, except for it had a bead, and therefore it sounded really exciting to me. So I think I have those, and I've yet to unbox them. So I'll be doing that, and you can watch me miss putts with outer cores.
I do.
Or KC AVRs.
I do watch it.
All right, what are you putting with?
Last night, and as all year, so to speak, I've been putting with deputies, burst deputies that are getting pretty old now, considering Robert McCall sent them to me. I had 5 of them. I think in the first year I hit a tree and went in some water with one of them. So I've got 4 of them, 4 burst deputies, probably a decade old at this point. But I putt with 2 of those and 1 pure, a white pure. I think it's I'm going to say Kristen Tatar pure, because that's what it is. It's not a lot. But that's what I've been putting with. And the pure is a little more stable than the other ones, but as I say to pretty much anybody, if you're putting from 20 and in, the stability of your putter doesn't matter, truly.
Maybe from 20 and in, but...
Yeah, from 20 and in, which is about what we're putting from most of them. Sometimes we put 20, even 30 practically. You can give me, unless it's a crazy like a zone overstable or something ridiculously understable. To me, it just feels like the putter doesn't matter. Now, you get into some weird stuff like our buddy Steve, who putts with the Z putters. Those just feel weird in my hand, and I can't putt with them. But in general, I think most people can, the putter doesn't matter. I have a stack. You were talking about the outer core, and I was just thinking, like, oh, I would love to get a few of them to just play with them and have them in the backyard and try them out. I have one of those MVP putter stands with it's full of just random, like 4 of this, 3 of that, 3. Like I've got everything from, I think I've got 2 or 3 from Lone Star, 2 or 3, like the Jackrabbit that they sent us. I've got a bunch of the Simon putters, the
P2s or the Envies or
the Envies, the green and blue ones that the special
or the Pixel,
the Pixel, the back-to-back when he won the back-to-back.
Okay,
I got some of those. I got like 4 or 5 of those. I got some
you frisbee ball.
I got like 4 pures because one of them's now in my bag. I've got a few deputies. There's just a bunch of random stuff that I put in the back, and I was thinking, God, if I got more discs, I don't have any more room in my disc holder. I'd have to pull something out.
Or put in more baskets, get that 6 to 9 hole course in, and then there could be discs in every basket.
I would if I get another basket, then I'm going to need to get another putter holder from MVP.
Good call.
I mean, if you know what, if one of those putter stands showed up at my door with a bunch of Envies and Simon putters, I wouldn't turn it away.
Wow, sounds like a shameless plug if I've ever heard one.
I mean, I'd be happy.
Do you need Joey Temali to come install it too?
Maybe. He's not far away.
Yeah.
And
I'll be on over here.
Again, I'll be back in, hopefully, if my son decides to go to Minneapolis, I'll be back and forth to Minnesota. So that's what I'm putting with, more or less two deputy bursts and a pure. It doesn't matter to me, honestly. Like I said, you could give me your AVRs, you give me whatever. I'm probably going to put about the same, It's just, that's kind of how that's how my style of putting is, because I'm a very flat, direct spin putter. For me, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to loft putts. I'm not trying to, I putter from hand to basket, shortest distance possible. That's how it goes. So, Patreon.com.
Let's get to it. Yeah, we got some giveaway action for you guys. And it may or may not. I actually went through a few more of we doubled up hard on the cold turkey stuff. So I may or may not have as much cold turkey, have leftover cold turkey. But I think I might still have another Jawbreaker Z Zone. And if I still have one, that could be part of the giveaway tonight, or it could be the main portion of the giveaway. So, I'm ready to get to the giveaway.
All right. Remember, if you're a Patreon supporter, you get ad-free versions of our podcast. You get
Johnny V for free versions.
You get free.
What if they just muted you?
Johnny, just my channel is just muted, so it's just
you.
a half a conversation. That'd be great. That would be so great. Maybe if you,
I'd pay for that.
At a certain level of Patreon, we can give you a one-sided conversation. Just you can mute me or Terry. We'll give you the choice.
To choose.
We could put you on one left and me one right, and then we'd let the person decide how they want the EQ, so they only hear one of us. That would be fantastic. Anyway, Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. That's where you can go to support us and our fine podcast. Terry, we have tonight.
Hugh Jackman. Side note: Hugh Jackman was in Milwaukee today at one of our famous
Custard joints.
custard burger joints, all in as part of the Neil Diamond promotion.
Yeah. His new movie.
Yeah. So,
But
kind of a random side note, but yeah.
I don't know how does Neil Diamond
the affiliation
affiliate with our custard? Just like, is he just going through like America? You know,
we're coming
to America. I honestly don't know, and maybe this could be an after show thing we could look up, Terry. We don't need to dig into it.
Oh, because "Song Sung Blue," which was one of his many hits, Neil Diamond, I believe was written by a woman in like Mequon.
Okay, the songwriter in Mequon.
I believe is something of that nature. Now that I'm thinking,
I saw pictures on social media of him handing out ice cream to people. So,
but that's the name of the movie, so that doesn't make sense. But I feel like anyway.
We'll figure it out. Look it up if you're interested, kids at home. Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. Terry, we have 98 people eligible for our giveaway tonight.
I wish I was there instead of here tonight. Yeah, it premiered down at the Oriental Theater.
It's one of the most beautiful theaters in the state.
I know, and it was tonight, which makes sense why he was here.
Yeah, handing out ice cream and burgers.
Tonight specifically, though, yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I want to leave. Can I redo tonight?
Sure.
You could talk to Joey alone, and then I go down to this.
Anyway, what number should we generate, Terry? How many should we pick from? It's Hugh Jackman's first trip to Milwaukee, so number 1. He's probably been here before.
I don't know. Sure. Let's just pick the first.
Our very first one. I'm generating the number. It is number 5. It's organized by first name. So we're getting a very high up one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That is Anthony Farrow. Anthony Farrow. Congratulations, Anthony.
Heck yeah.
You've been a Patreon supporter for a very long time. So thank you very much, buddy.
We appreciate it.
So, and that's F-A-U-R-O-T, because we do have an Anthony Farrow, F-E-R-R-O. So this is, I want to be clear, this is Farrat, not Farrow.
Yeah.
It might be pronounced the same, but...
One lives in Australia, I believe, and one does not.
All right, well...
This is
the one that lives in Ohio.
Okay. All right.
I just noticed that right below that. I'm like, oh yeah, Anthony Farrow.
That's the case.
So congratulations, Anthony. I will get your information to Terry Miller. He will reach out to you or send it. Hopefully your address is up to date. He'll verify that, and we'll get you that disc.
Yes, thank you. Last week's I know actually already went out. I'm trying to get all caught up, but last week had already gone out right away. So. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you to one Joey Temali of the Crushed Pepper podcast, as well as social media extraordinaire out there doing work and then playing events as well. So he's a busy guy. If you have time, still jump in on that Giving Tuesday over there. Our friends at Uplay are matching up, I believe, up to $12,000 in contributions that are going to the Macbeth Foundation. So basically, you donate $5. It's as good as if you had donated 10. So if you want to double your contribution, UDisc will step in and help out with that. And we certainly appreciate them doing just that. So thanks to all my cold turkey participants this last weekend. Looking forward to seeing a bunch of the regular faces and incredible humans down in Florida for this weekend's upcoming event for the Chain Hawk Open number 14. So I'll see you there. And if we didn't talk about it, we should have, but if you're out in California this weekend for the 50th anniversary of Oak Grove and the insane amount of history and incredible humans that will be out there, have fun, travel safely if you're going, and I'm certainly a little bit jealous. I'm gonna have to be on the other side of the country while that's happening, but my prior obligations take me over to Florida. But have so much fun. I'm looking forward to hearing some stories from this from this upcoming weekend. Maybe we'll have somebody on next week. We might have Luke Humphreys as well, if I'm already planning ahead.
Okay,
Johnny V, the disc golf guy.